homogeneous community where I had only few kids who were different. And I did not have a chance to communicate and speak with someone who's, let's say, different and other. I just knew they exist, but I didn't have an opportunity to communicate. You know, when I was going to school, actually, some kids didn't attend religious classes. And I was wondering, like, why? Why, like, I attend religious classes, everyone attends, and some kids don't attend? Because they didn't have opportunity to have religious classes because they were minority and nobody was offering religious classes for them. And that meant that the child or the children would actually go outside the school or outside the class, wait for 45 minutes until the religious class is finished, and then come back to other classes. So nobody was giving these classes to them because they were minority. And this existed in the whole country and among all religious groups. But now the situation is getting better, I would say. But at some point in my life, I went to study to Sarajevo, to capital. And there I actually started meeting more people from other groups, more people who are different from the religious communities. And because God works in mysterious ways, obviously, I had the opportunity to find a group of young people who were willing to push the limits of their own communities, to push it and actually explore and engage with those who are rather different than them. So that's how my organization, Youth for Peace, actually emerged. Because young people decided that it's important for us to communicate. And that was also with the help of the, dialogue that was happening also on some other higher levels. Some people had this opportunity to be engaged through their religious communities. I didn't have. I was making my opportunity for myself. I was actually digging to it. And I wanted to see, how some Catholics are living or how some Orthodox Christians are living. Or even I wanted to see, how this small Jewish community in my country lives. So now Youth for Peace is in 7th year of working, and we provide space and we actually provide opportunity for young people to come together and to rethink. What to rethink? To rethink society we live in, but also to rethink the peace we want to have. But besides working in our reality, we also wanted to explore world beyond borders. That's why we became a part of URI, United Religious Initiative, because we wanted to see how Interfaith works beyond Bosnia, because we were so embedded in Bosnia. Bosnia is so poor, Bosnia is so nothing is happening in Bosnia, Bosnia is so awful, but there is whole world outside our country. There is whole world happening there, and there's interfaith happening in other communities, and there are people who also want to interact. But how this affected me personally, I was, let's say, from being a shy person, from being a person that had this hidden interest for other religions rather than mine, I became very open, and I actually developed interest into religions, into beliefs, into other spiritual traditions. And I also started my MA in interreligious studies and peace building. So I learned to listen to people, really genuinely listen to people, and ask a question to get some kind of, let's say, deeper insight into what people believe and how they believe. And all that without, that false kindness, oh, let me ask you a question and things like that, but really genuinely wanting to know something. Interfaith showed me that I can stay true myself. I can stay true to my own identity. I can actually be my own self, and I don't have to give any bit of my own identity. I don't have to give anything out. I can still practice my own religion. I can still, let's say, be a good Muslim, but I can understand and know how other people believe, and I can understand that people have their own ways of getting and connecting to God. And that's what Interfaith showed me and actually taught me. I would like to conclude this with the following. Intergenerational dialogue is extremely important, and young people need models. We don't need critics. We need models, and we need help, and we need space and support, but we also can create opportunities for ourselves and our peers. And I think who is the best to sow the seeds of peace and dialogue than young people? And I will finish here, and I want to hear your voices. I want to hear your reflections. You can reflect on what I was saying, but you can also reflect on what you heard today. You can reflect on your own community. So I would like to open the floor. I actually see a question. Yeah, Todd.
No, I was just going to say, I was going to just let everybody know that we have about 10 minutes left. So please just jump in with the questions, recognizing Emina's desire to have everybody talking as opposed to chatting. Okay?
I saw Monique's question, how can you help? First thing of all is actually seeing us young people as equal partners in dialogue. Because unfortunately, I had this sometimes experience that people are seeing young people as a good asset for something. And we are not just a good asset. I think we are super, let's say, super ready to be there. And we have this capacity. We have the capacity to lead the change. We don't want to be just led by someone. We want to lead it together. And our voices shouldn't be just heard. Our voices should be taken into account. So having really just genuine dialogue and approaching us with this, let's say, some kind of equal treatment and equal status, and not just, yes, have young people. And, we have a group of young people working, yes, but what are you doing with those young people? And also from us, from young people, take, our senior leaders also very, very seriously and learn from them, learn from that wisdom that is there, because there's a huge wisdom within seniors, within senior leaders, but we also have to learn from it. I say that's why I'm also emphasizing intergenerational dialogue. It has to be initiated from both sides. But I think here, senior leaders and seniors has a bit of an advantage, and it has to be initiated from them. But also, we cannot wait for that to be initiated. We need to dig for our opportunities. So I would say the impulse has to come from both of the sides.
Well, I don't think there's really any difference between, a newborn baby and a 100-year-old person. I think we incarnate with all kinds of wisdom at all kinds of ages. So I've never seen really a distinction. But I wanted to bring up another issue, and that is, I like your discussion of dialogue, but also for that dialogue to be iterative. A lot of the functions that I go to, I hear people speaking, and then another person speaks, and another person speaks, but they aren't speaking collaboratively. They aren't really listening to and reacting and building a theme or a common collaboration. They're just, and the interesting thing is, it's in the guise of being democratic that this person can speak and then this person can speak, but they're all speaking in their own monologues, and there's not really I don't know if you noticed that, but I think that's something that could be attempted and just starting to be done, and as a meme that changes the way dialogue happens.
Thank you for your comment on that, because I also saw Shirley's question. I will get to that as well. Regarding this comment, the problem is that it's not a dialogue. It's not a dialogue if we don't listen. It's not a dialogue if we compete with each other and if we try to find mistakes when one is speaking. Just listen to someone and yet, oh, I got you there. It's not a dialogue.
Yeah.
It's not the way how we should, let's say, how we should interact and speak. The dialogue requires us to listen and require us to understand what the other person said. It doesn't require us to actually agree with the person. We don't have to agree with someone's opinion, but we have to acknowledge that that is the opinion of that person and that we accepted its opinion of that person. The purpose of the dialogue is not that we come to one solution and say, yes, we finally agree upon it. There is also magic in this agree to disagree, because about certain things we disagree, and it's okay to disagree. Let's say accept that we have different opinions. We have different views. And those different views are healthy to exist, because if we all thought the same, what kind of world do you live in? Without any kind of critical thinking, without any kind of questioning what's happening. And actually we saw what is happening when everybody started thinking the same. There is one person saying, do this, do that, and everybody follows. The history showed us what is happening. I saw a question from Shirley. If young people aren't interested in our religious institutions, how and where do we engage with them? That's a tough one, I have to say. That's really tough one. But in my work with young people, in my conversations with young people, what do they find as quite not attractive is being very rigid, being very strict, imposing the rules, saying you have to do this, and this, because it requires you to do this and this. I mean, we have to rethink our religious traditions and also go back to roots a bit and see, where did we make mistake? What happened in the process? How did we just start being with so many rules and we just say like, yes, we have to follow blindly these rules and that's it. Because I don't think religion is about it. I don't think God is all about, let's say, list of the rules and then you just follow these rules and you go to heaven. Because there's much more than this. And that's a bit problematic when religion is presented to young people in this way. As a list of the rules, as a list of do this and do that, of do's and do nots. And then that's it. That's all of the religion. We need, what young people are seeing, I think there is this inner need to connect. And there is this inner need to connect with something what is above us, what is larger than us, what is greater than us. And I don't think we will find it just in strict rules. And that's why young people have this issue and problem. And when you say that they are religious, people are looking at you, yeah, she's religious, she's probably traditional, she's probably very conservative, she's probably very rigid, she probably doesn't want to hear anyone else's opinion, or she's very, very strict, and you cannot talk to her. Or like, yeah, all of these things. So when you get these kinds of comments, it's a bit difficult. Because I am religious, but it doesn't mean that I don't have open views. It doesn't mean that I don't see other people around myself. That doesn't mean that I blindly follow something. That doesn't mean that I don't have critical thinking. But because unfortunately, in many times people say that religion and critical thinking are opposite. I don't think so. It's not opposite. Because we need also to question all of the rules that we made and to see actually, where did all of that come from? I hope I gave a bit of the answer to your question.
Emina, I just want to let you know we have about a minute and a half left in this session. So if anybody has any questions or if you want to sum up, and just before you go, thank you so much. I really appreciate your passion and it's been a great presentation.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you for being here and thank you for your questions. I'm sorry if I talk too much. I would love actually to hear more of your reflections and more of your thoughts actually. So if any of you have anything to say, anything, let's say a quote or something to share with us, I would gladly hear you rather than me wrapping up something.
I just want to respond a bit to your what you said in response to my question. And one of my frustrations is that I often feel that in approaching talking about spiritual matters with young people, that I encounter that they assume that means I'm talking about some kind of a rule-bound, strict, kind of laid on dogmatic thing, when that isn't really what it means to me. And I'm just sometimes searching for how to speak about it, how to speak about the realm of spirit in a way that doesn't engage those assumptions that it's going to be something dogmatic.
Thank you.
Yeah.